And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Crypto Evolution. Where have I been? Look, I haven't died, all right? I haven't capitulated. I've actually been moving houses. I'm in the middle of moving houses. There's been a lot going on. And look, I'm not one of these YouTubers who comes out with content every day, obviously. And look, it's a tough gig. These guys who are giving their life, you know, your Ivan on text, Martini guy, great guy. Love the content he's producing. Okay, got Crypto Crow as well. A lot of these YouTubers full time, it takes a lot of work, and hats off to these guys. All right, hats off. These guys are doing a great job, and you guys need to support them by giving them a like and subscribe. I'm only ever going to come to you when I've got something to say or something interesting. So keep that in mind. I do appreciate all your likes and subscribes. Okay, I'm a very new channel, but look, today's video is I sat down with Corey from Coin Bros, ATM Bitcoin company. Okay, and look. Absolute gentleman. Okay, we had a lot to talk about, ended up going for about an hour. So I'm going to split up into two videos. The first one's about Coin Bros, the company, and how Bitcoin ATMs work. If any of you guys have wondered, I've never used one myself, so I've always wondered how they work and how they operate. And then the second part of the video, we got into a lot of other things. A lot of other things about the market, and we talked about Bitcoin Cash, the forks, all sorts of stuff. So stay tuned, guys. All right, there's going to be first video today. A few days later, it's going to be the second video, and I'll probably put them into a whole video. Okay, some people like to watch the longer videos or like a podcast. So look, he was an absolute gentleman and very gracious. And thanks for your time, Corey. And I hope all the best for you in the future. I was going to ask you what you do, on the side as a hobby. Looks like you lift cars or something. You're an absolute unit. So look, slap the like and subscribe, guys. Tick that bell, and here we go. Today with me we have Corey from the Coin Bros. Is Coin Bros or Coin Brothers?
Coin Bros.
Coin Bros.
Whatever. Yeah, either way.
Yeah. And we're here to talk about basically Bitcoin and crypto ATMs. Corey has a business dealing with that. So it's just for basically my viewers just to get a little, like a new take on the ATM space and what's going on. So I guess I'll start with, how did you get into the space, if you don't mind talking about it? And then what led you to the ATM side of the business?
So I initially got into space when I was a paramedic in 2012, and just you have a lot of time in between calls sometimes. So
I work myself, actually, not quite paramedic, but just a level under. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Oh, good for you, man. Thank you very much. Yeah. Are you? I don't mean to derail this, but are you active right now?
No, not paramedic now. No, I work on a government department still, but not paramedic. Yeah.
Cool. So then sometimes you have downtime, and I was always interested in finance, and I was sitting in the ambulance bay in a hospital and just scrolling through my iPad, and I just saw something about Bitcoin, and it just snowballed, and I fell down that rabbit hole. And that was a long time ago. Bought a little bit in 2013 and 2015, and then 2017 it just went ape shit, right? And then one of my buddies in 2017 had this idea to start a Bitcoin ATM company.
Yep.
And he was like, do you want to come sort of like work for me, kind of check it out? And I said, yeah, and that was early on. Nobody even had them. He placed the first Bitcoin ATM in this area, and then people immediately started using it. And we're like, well, this is really cool. For whatever reason, and I tried to get him to expand, and he just didn't want to. He wanted to keep it at one, and that wasn't making me happy. I kind of had different visions of where I wanted to go with it. So we kind of split ways, and I bought him out in 2019. And then, kind of went through going forward with what I had envisioned for myself and my own company.
Yep.
And so, we started slow, and we're just kind of building up a lot more momentum now. So we went from, 1 to about 25.
Wow.
So,
that's
and
good.
Which it's awesome. But then I compare, and I shouldn't, but I compare myself to other companies that have like 500. Like, shit, man,
somewhere, right?
I got a lot of catching up to do. But at the same time, a lot of these guys have big teams of people, tons of money backing them.
Yeah.
and which is great, good for them.
Yeah.
I don't have that yet. Every single dollar that I make goes right back into the company
Yep.
to get more machines, and I have a small team of two people. Well, really three. A manager and then a compliance officer and but for the most part, I'm doing everything myself, and I'm bringing on another person to handle a couple other things. But that's where I am right now. So
Fair
we
enough.
have big aspirations, but we're still small. But we're
Still young. Like it's still a young space. It came out of the last financial crisis. It was born, and this is its first real test. And it's interesting to see how it's going. It's still young, still early days. How does a Bitcoin ATM work? Like, is it running a node in the background, or the funds just come out of a cold storage wallet? I have no idea.
There's a couple ways you can configure it. One of the ways is from a hot wallet or a cold wallet.
Yeah.
Another way is you can link it up directly to an exchange. Let's just say you have it hooked up to Coinbase, for example,
Right.
and we will draw from the USD balance,
Yep.
buy the Bitcoin or whatever it is,
Yep.
whatever cryptocurrency, then send it directly through Coinbase via API.
Yep.
Through the ATM machine to your wallet.
That's probably a lot better, because I'd imagine you'd get the volatility, like if it was on a cold wallet and so forth, and you bought it, I guess, at a higher rate than what you sold it at, you're going to lose money. But if it's coming straight from the like that through the API through Coinbase, it's less chance of you losing money, because it's a direct it's going straight from there.
That's a really good point, and it's smart that you pointed that out, because in 2018, all it did was go down.
Yeah,
Bitcoin,
I know.
right? For a year, it just didn't stop going down. Yeah, exactly. And if you were holding on a hot wallet, which a lot of people don't have the business accounts to actually set up a Bitcoin ATM network on like Binance or Bitstamp or whatever it is, because these exchanges, they don't like Bitcoin ATMs, and so you'll get nobody likes Bitcoin ATMs because it's taking liquidity from them.
Yep. Okay.
Although a lot of people are coming around, but if you hold it on a hot wallet, you're just gonna be selling at a loss the whole time. So if you want the volatility, if it's going straight up, it might be an okay idea to switch it to the hot wallet. Now you're selling a profit. But if it's not, and you just don't want that volatility, you don't like being subject to it, there's other ways to do it. But those are pretty much the only 2 or 3 ways right now. That was good that you pointed that out. That's a huge factor in this business.
Yeah. And what sort of I guess, what sort of fees and that? Like, I live in Sydney, pretty big place, but I can think of 2 or 3 ATMs. So they're not very popular. I haven't yet used one. I'm going to go down and have a go. But you always hear, the first thing I always hear is the fees. So what is that not correct? Like, the fees are, I guess, not as much as what people are thinking?
Again, a masterful question, because when people think Bitcoin ATMs, they think fees.
Yep.
And as well they should. Let me point out a couple things really quickly. Number one, most people they have zero idea what goes into a Bitcoin ATM business.
Yep.
And the margins that are involved and how you actually make money on them. Number two, there are so many moving parts to a Bitcoin ATM business, especially a legitimate one that has compliance officers involved and marketing, and you're paying rent. Every time you see a Bitcoin ATM, it didn't just appear out of nowhere. You had to buy it. They're expensive, anywhere from $5,000 to $15,000 on the high end.
Yeah.
You have to pay the hosts rent to keep it there.
Yep.
Most people aren't doing it for free.
Yeah.
You have to pay a compliance officer. God help you if you're not compliant. And you have to pay all the other associated costs. If you have armored car pickup, if you have a money service bank account, I mean, you are nickeled and dimed everywhere.
Yep.
So to charge 10%, and people look at it and they go, I can't believe you're charging 10%. You go, let me show you the breakdown of what I'm paying for, just so you can have the convenience of walking up to a Bitcoin ATM, plugging in your wallet, scanning your barcode, and walking away with your Bitcoin immediately.
Yep.
By the way, as opposed to going through the whole process of signing up with Coinbase or Binance or all these other verification processes.
Yep.
Sometimes they hold your Bitcoin for weeks.
Yeah, that's right. Waiting for the KYC.
Yeah, absolutely. And we forget because we're in a very small bubble of where people like to trade Bitcoin in and out constantly.
Yep.
So their experience is different from a lot of other people. You'd be surprised how many people just want to buy it and hold it and store it forever.
Yep.
And they don't want to deal with an exchange.
Yeah.
There's a huge amount of people that don't want to mess with exchanges. And by the way,
have all the hacks that go on and
I was just going to say that. Have you ever heard anything bad about an exchange going down or getting hacked?
Yeah, I can name
it. Constant. Yeah, exactly. So we offer. And by the way, I'm not anti-exchange. I am a couple of them because I think they're complete horse shit, need to get the hell out of the space. But nobody should really keep their money on exchange anyway. And the verification process sucks. So we just offer a lot of different elements that you otherwise just completely don't have to deal with.
Yeah.
And you get it immediately sent to your wallet right now.
Nice.
Within seconds.
Yep.
So, the convenience is there. For 10%, come on. The shirt you're wearing was marked up 30%. Our shoes were marked up 400%. Everywhere you look, we're getting marked up. You get a bitch about 10%? Get out of here, dude.
Yeah, I know, right? And and you think about it, if you got, your Binance or your trading account, which you might not be holding a lot of money, but if you're trading in and out, you're paying fees every time. So 10% quickly adds up to, they might only be paying 0.25 or 1%, but if you're trading all the time, you're paying the money on it. It's going somewhere.
Yeah, you are. And really, some of them do gouge. I'm not going to name names, and I wouldn't speak ill of any other businesses anyway. I have seen some places charge 45, 50%. And look, it makes me go, what the hell? But that seems to me maybe where a lot of the people's concerns are. Mm-hmm. But there are reasonable companies out there. You just have to look for them and then, do business with them. And if you like them, continue. So we're reasonable and we don't gouge. But again, just educating people on the fees is why you charge what you do, where the fees go to. It becomes a lot more understandable.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong. I'm from Australia, but would you need to have and there's expense involved in that too. Would you need a money license there to operate the ATM machines? And then if so, do you need one in each certain state? Like each state has its own requirements?
Each state does have its own requirements. A lot of them sort of fall under the same umbrella.
Yep.
Some of them are like you cannot operate here without this license, which is a money transmitting license. Yep. Some of them say if you're a money service business and you are registered under FinCEN and you have a AML KYC policy, AML meaning anti-money laundering.
Yep.
KYC is know your customer. And you're following the guidelines and you have a compliance officer, then they go, okay, well, we're not going to require the license just yet, but we're looking into it. So there are a lot of gray areas, but right now, for the most part, in the States, you're okay to operate, except for the exception of, maybe 3 or 4 states, which are ball breakers anyway. And they're just kind of known for that. Yeah, but again, really the most important thing here is compliance. Because guess what, man? I'm all for anonymity. I'm all for what Bitcoin's about, but also I'm not going to go to jail.
Not worth it.
When you decide that you're going to run a money service business, you are entering into an agreement that you are going to abide by all the rules and regulations, and you're not going to fuck around. Excuse my language.
Yeah.
But that's just what it is. Like, it's not worth it. Just like you said.
What's your plans moving forward? Growth?
Just keep my head
above water.
Yeah, I'm not going to allow myself to be diverted. We have plans for growth, and we're just moving along as we would, with a lot of momentum behind us.
Yeah.
We have a good name, a good brand. We do a lot of things for the community, and it's getting easier getting locations now.
Good, good.
It used to be a nightmare,
Yeah.
and because everyone was like, "Get out! What are you
Yeah.
talking about?
Oh,
Bitcoin?"
Bitcoin, oh, drugs, go away. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
or they just never even heard of it.
Yeah,
Now they go, "Hey, I have a shop. You want to put a Bitcoin ATM there?" So we're actually able to get a little more picky,
yeah.
whereas we would have taken anybody. So yeah, we're just full steam ahead. Full
Excellent.
steam ahead, man. Yeah.
And look, on another topic, but I don't know any miners particularly out here. If there are miners, I don't know them in Australia. But do you have? I know there's a lot more miners over in America, particularly the Texas sort of area. But do you have any dealings with miners? And I'm just wondering, has there been much talk about the halving and how that's going to affect their business? If you haven't, then that's fine. I just thought I'd ask that question.
Yeah, I haven't.
Okay.
I talk to miners every once in a while, and there's just no talking in
Yeah.
what you're
Okay.
specifically talking about. I'm not in the loop for that. It is a concern though.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. Yeah, if you get the Chinese miners, which their costs are a lot less, to see if they're just going to become more of a, I guess, take over, or it's become more centralized as the hardening happens, and you get a lot of the smaller miners shut off. It's wait and see, I guess. Yeah, that's what I just thought I'd ask and see if you had any contacts or anything. Bitcoin ATMs, can you just use them getting normal cash out as well? Is that how they work? Or can you buy all sorts of crypto?
So we offer right now. I offer the basics: Bitcoin. I delisted Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum, and Litecoin. But we can offer whatever we want.
Okay.
Yeah, for the most part, as long as it's uh, it, you got to be careful with Monero and total privacy coins,
Privacy.
because
Yeah.
yeah, things get a little weird. And to answer your second question, we do have two-way Bitcoin ATMs where we can buy and sell for
Okay.
cash, and those are becoming more and more popular. We have a couple of them on the way that we're going to deploy and upgrade to our already existing locations where people have that option.
When you go use the Bitcoin ATM, do you have to do your KYC on the spot, or how does that happen at the ATM?
So typically we have tiered limits, right? If you want to buy a certain amount, it's really straightforward. It's your phone number, and which sends you a text message, and then you sort of enter the code and your
Okay.
first and last name, right?
Yep.
And that's up to $900,
Yep.
right? If you want to buy more than that, then you just register on the ATM. You scan your ID,
Yep.
and then it's also your phone number, first last name, and you
Okay.
can buy up to 3,000,
Hmm.
right? If you want more than that, then you give us a call, and then we collect a little more data, and
Yep.
then you can buy up to much higher limits at that point.
Yep.
And our main concern really is that people aren't getting scammed, because there are a lot of scams that happen, and that's what we really try to detect more than anything. And that also that the elderly, they tend to be more victim than anyone else.
Yeah.
So we really make sure people aren't sending their Bitcoin to third party wallets, right? They're not buying it on behalf for other people. And if they answer certain questions a certain way, automatically there's a lot of red flags, and we say, look, we're not going to be able to help you, go somewhere else. And we turn down customers all the time because we're convinced that the transaction they're trying to do just doesn't make sense. And also it might be against our guidelines and our rules and regulations that we have under our AML policy.
Right.
So there is a criteria that has to be met, and that's for everybody's safety.
Okay.
Absolutely, yeah. So that does exist, and people think that KYC has saved a lot of people.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And
Agree.
man, like there are some places that don't do any KYC, any AML,
Yep.
and those are just they're melting pots for scams, and
Yeah.
they're just kind of a disaster. So we care about doing the right thing. I'll tell you that right now.
I mean, I
Yeah.
remember, I won't say back in the day, it wasn't that long ago, but when I first got involved, there wasn't that many exchanges from Australia anyway. It was just confusing at the time. I don't know how to buy this and get on the exchange. So a lot of what used to happen was you'd wire someone the money and then they'd send you the Bitcoin, or you'd meet them at the corner shop and give them cash and then they send you the Bitcoin. So it's come a long way. And now I think KYC is a good thing, and it's if we want any legitimacy in the space, it's something that has to happen. So
Yeah. It is, and let me be clear though, just a takeaway point. I'm for the right regulation,
mhm.
right? The government tends to overregulate the hell out of everything.
Yeah,
I think this is a good time for us to sort of write the book of what a reasonable regulation would look like
absolutely. We don't
for
want it
everyone.
overregulated. Yeah,
Yeah.
I totally agree. It's otherwise, what's the point of it all?
Yeah.
It, guys, end of part one. Thanks for you for tuning in. Okay, thank you for Corey. Okay, from Coin Bros. Sounds like a great business you got going there, and I guess I think on his part, particularly if it was a few years ago, he's taken a big leap of faith. So I wish him all the best. Now, part two is going to be coming up in a few more days. So I hope you liked that video. If you've ever wondered about ATMs, Bitcoin ATMs, and how they work, I hope you got something out of that video. I did. So thanks again, guys. Click that like and subscribe, tick that bell, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye, guys.